How much money do you need? In order for you to continue with the process, or in order for you to complete this process successfully, you need money. And you need, for some of us, that money might be a lot of money. So how much money is required during this process? That is what we are going to be looking at in this video. So now, after filling your DS260, they will send you a second notification letter which will let you know when your interview has been scheduled, and maybe if you need to change, you will need to register. You will need to register your appointment, right? When you register your appointment, then they will request you to also, you give them your DHL office which is near you, and then you will need to go for medical before you go for your interview. So the medical will need you to have money. You will also need money for the visa. You will also need, now after they give you the visa, you will also need money for the green card. So that is what we are going to be looking at in this video. So if this is your first time, my name is Kelvin Adonis. Please make sure that you subscribe. Help us to reach more people by liking this video. It's very simple to like this video. On your screen, you can see the like button. Just click on it, and that is it. And you have helped us to reach more people. If you have any question, on the comment section, you can ask me and I will try my best to answer you. Right? Now, after saying that, now we get into it. How much money do you need? And what exactly do you need to know? Now, in order for us to understand how much money we need, there is a lot of things that we need to look at. We need to look at the transportation. We need to look at the visa fee. We also need to look at the green card itself, the visa for the fee for the green card. We also need to know the fee for the medical, and that is what we are going to be looking into. So let's get into it without further much ado. Now, in order for us to understand how much money we need, first of all, before I get into how much money we need, there is some things that I will need you to know. You need to have this certificate. Yeah, this certificate. For when you are going for the interview, you will need this required documentation. Yeah, this is when you are going for the interview. So you will need the appointment information, and then you will need the DS260 confirmation page. You will need your passport, and this is what I was talking about in our previous video, that your passport need to be valid for 6 months beyond the intended date of the entry to the US, as you and each family member applying for a visa. So if your passport is near expiry, please make sure that you go and renew it. And then you will also need original document of certified copies of civil document listed here. You should also be prepared to present. Now, this document that they are talking about here, these are just documents that maybe you might require them regarding on your in regard to your situation. For that person who will require evidence of DV qualifying or work experience, remember, if you said that you have work experience, we said that you can qualify through education or work experience. So if you qualified through work experience, you will need evidence of the work experience. If you have ever been deported from US or deported from wherever, you need to have the deportation document. If you have been married, you need to have a marriage certificate. If you were divorced, you need to have a marriage termination document. If you have a child, or if you separated and you have a child that you need to go with into the US, you need to have something we call custody documentation. That means that the other parent or the other side of the parent, they have allowed you to have the custody of that child. Now you can also come, now this is the site. If you need to know all this information, you can go to travel.state.gov. that is where you will find this. All the information you need is there. Now for us to understand how much money we need to understand something. There is something that is always constant. In most cases it does not change, and that is the visa fee. The visa fee, this one here, the visa fee is, most cases it's always constant, and it is 330 US dollars per person. 300 and US dollars per person. Now that is the visa fee, which never changes, and as I've told you guys, the visa fee does not change in most of the time. Now guys, we need to look at how much money we need. Now let me say that it might depend on your situation. How much money you need might depend on your situation. For a person who does not have any document, that person will be required to have more money than a person who has documents already. Documents like birth certificate, documents like marriage certificate, those will come to add onto the cost that we will discuss about here. But I'm going to show you all of those things that I'm talking about right now. But let's look at what I'm saying now. So how much are you required to have? Remember guys that this is an estimation. You might be required to have more money. You might be required to have more money, but as we have seen, the visa money does not change. In most cases, that fee that does not change, it remains as US 330 US dollars. Now for medical, now this is just the basics, yeah, the money, this one you must have. This is the ones that, you know, these are the basic, the ones that you really need to understand. You need to have the money for visa, which is 330 US dollars. You need to have money for medical. Now this one, it can change. This medical 320 US dollars is for that person who do not have the document to show that he or she has been vaccinated. Let me allow me to explain. For a person that has not been vaccinated, or a person that does not have document to show that you have been vaccinated, who is this kind of a person? I mean, like, you don't have the documents, you know, like when you're vaccinated, like hepatitis B or yellow fever, something like that, you have document to show that you have been vaccinated, right? So if you do not have any of those documents, this is the price that you should expect to pay for the medical fee. Yeah, I think I've shown you guys. Huh? So this is the medical. So if you do not have any medical or any medical documentation to show that you have been vaccinated, remember again guys, I've told you, if you want to check, you can go to travel.state.gov. you will find all the information there. So if you have never been vaccinated, or you do not have a document to show vaccination, that you have been vaccinated, this is the amount that you should expect to have, or you should have actually when you are going for the medical. You should expect to have, or you should have 320 US dollars. But if you have document to show that you have ever been vaccinated, and also something else that I forgot to mention, that if you have not been vaccinated, the COVID, if you have not also been vaccinated for COVID, that will also come into the price that we are talking about. But okay, what I know, or what I heard, you don't pay for the COVID, but if you have never been vaccinated for COVID, they will vaccinate you. You need to know that. Now that we have said that, guys, Now that we have said that, now you know, if you have never been vaccinated, this is the kind of amount of money that you should have, or you should expect to pay. Then there is also the green card, which you pay for around 220 US dollars. That is after they give you the visa, you go for the interview, then they grant you the visa, then now you can pay for the green card. Now then there is also the flight. Now the flight, this one might depend. It might be cheap or expensive. That's why I have used 900 or 1200. That is just an estimation. It depends also. Now this one also depends. It depends with the kind of flight you will use, the kind of airline you will use, the type of class that you will be traveling. Maybe you will use the business. Maybe you are blessed to use the business. Maybe you are blessed to have that kind of money. So there is the business and there is the economy. If you use business, more money will be required. And also remember the type of airline that you are using. So for me, what I've done here is, this is just an estimation, and this is for the economy. For the people who use economy class, because of one reason or the other, this is the amount of money that you should expect to have. Now guys, I've told you that this is just the basic. So if we count the total of all this amount that we have now on the flight, I've used 1200 here, and that's why it is totaling to this amount. So if you put 330, 320, 220 it and 1200, we get a figure of 2070 US dollars. $2070. Now that is not cheap, especially for people who are struggling financially. That is not cheap, right? And remember that, guys, I've told you this is just the basic. This is just the basic. Now when I talk about basic, what do I mean? Let me show you guys. Now there are other costs. Remember, these are just the basic. This amount that you're seeing here is just the basic for the visa, for the medical, for the green card, for the flight. Remember, then this green card, you can choose to pay it where you're in Kenya, or where you're in Uganda, or when you're in Ghana. Wherever you will be, you can choose to pay it there, or you can go to the United States and then pay when you are in the United States. So this, for the money for green card, should not really bother you. It should not bother you that much, but remember, you will also need to pay for it. So it is important that it is included in this list. So I've told you guys that this is just the basic amount of money that you should have, which is totaling to 2070. Now I said, guys, there are other costs. Now remember, guys, first of all, you are using transport. Now you are traveling to different places, so you will need to travel to your embassy, you will need to travel to your place of medical. So how much money will you use? I don't know. Then if you are renewing your passport, or you have a problem with the passport, so, or you had a problem with passport, because when you're filling the S260, I think you should have the passport. So if you had to apply for passport, that should also apply to this. Now the reason as to why you should add these prices to this one, now the reason as to why I have not included the prices on this one will depend. They will vary. I don't know where you are. Maybe you are in Uganda, maybe you are in Ghana, maybe you are in Kenya. Wherever you are, these prices will differ. There is your transport, where are you going, to get all the certificate that you are supposed to have. And then there is also the passport. What kind of passport are you going to take? How many pages? That will also add to this. And then there is police clearance certificate. Now for the police clearance certificate in Kenya, it's around 1050. It is not that expensive though. It is not expensive. Then also remember that if you are qualifying through the the school or your education, you remember that you must verify your school certificate. And then there is other document. Remember, we talked about birth certificate. If you don't have them, you have to include the cost there. And then there is there is the birth certificate. Only if you are in military, that kind of document to show that you have ever been in military. And if you are divorced, you need to have something we call that divorce, the certificate or something like that. So that falls under other documents. Then also, well, I don't know, this one is not necessarily important, but you need also to have pocket money, guys. It is important to have something, because maybe you go there, you need something and you don't have money as you are waiting for your documents, because as you are waiting for your document, you will wait for them for quite some time. So perhaps in that period you might want to buy something. So you will need pocket money. Now remember that all this cost, or this money that we are talking about here, it is not included on this one. So, and also you have to remember also that all that cost is for one person, not two, not three, not four, not five, but one person. So if you convert this money into Kenyan shillings, or into Ugandan shillings, or into Ghanaian cedis, or any other country, how much money do you think you will need? Now, that one, you will need to do it yourself. Now, it also depends with where you are from, your country, the exchange rate. So that is not something that I'm going to be discussing. But if you are in Kenya, that is around, you will need around 300 to 350. 300 to 350,000 Kenyan shillings, so that you are on the safer side. Or you even need more for those of you who are using the business class kind of flight, those of you who are using all these expensive airlines, so you might need even more money. So that is something that you should put into consideration, right? So always remember that. Now, having said that, if you are there, or maybe you feel like there is something that I have not touched, you can tell us on the comment section, so that we educate each other. And my prayer is that you will be successful in this process. If you're watching this video, my prayer is that you will be successful. And let us meet on our next video, where perhaps I will be telling you what you need during the interview, and what you need to know concerning the interview. Now that we talked about DS260, we have talked about how much money you need. Now let's talk about the interview. What is the process? What goes on during the interview? And actually, we will be very shocked at what happens during the interview, because it is not what most of you think. So let us meet on that video. So if you have not subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe. Any question, make sure you ask me on the comment section. Like the video. It is very simple. Only tapping on the screen, only or tapping on the like button, and then you will help us to reach more people. So thank you very much for watching us. Until we meet on our next video, my name is Kelvin Adonis. Adios.